All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, another NBA regular season video slash All Star video. In this video, we're going to talk about the three-point contest and the WNBA All Star game that happened this past weekend. Going to talk about what I like, what I didn't like, the results of the three-point contest and the WNBA All Star game. So if you like what I say, like the video. If you have any opinions, comment it down below. And if you just like the vibes, consider subscribing. I'm a bit under the weather, so if I sound a little weird, I apologize. Regardless, this is a nice, chill, relaxing video. We're just going to talk about some stuff and go over the positives of what I thought was a very fun weekend. It was fun. So first off, let's start with the three-point contest. I did my, what's it called? The preview, the predictions for the three-point contest and the All-Star game, none of which happened, just just to be clear. I was really close though. With the three-point contest, we had Marina Mabrey, Ryan Howard, Natisha Heidemann, Janelle Salon, plus Bridget Carlton and AZ Fudd. The first couple names I mentioned, Mabrey, Howard, Salon, Heidemann, they didn't really show up at all in this three-point contest. As I predicted, some of these players just aren't built for the three-point contest. It is very jarring sometimes for players to have to pick up a ball off a rack, shoot it. Some players just aren't built for that. Some players, quite frankly, let's be honest, don't care. They're just happy to be invited. I think Marina Mabrey was one of those sneaky players I thought could win it. I knew Ryan Howard wouldn't do well because she's already a streaky shooter to begin with. I knew Natisha Heidemann wouldn't do well because she's I just don't think she's that kind of shooter. She's a in rhythm shooter, and if she starts out of rhythm, she's not going to get into rhythm. And then Janelle Salon, I didn't know too much about. She never popped off the screen to me just watching her playing with her team, the Golden State Valkyries. So I didn't pick her because I was like, I don't know anything about her. And if she wins, and she surprises me and surprises everybody else. My pick, though, my definitive pick was Bridget Carlton. And I was like, Bridget Carlton is made for this. She's a catch and shoot kind of player. It's not too far of a stretch for me to think of her as somebody taking the ball off the rack, shooting it really well. In that first batch, that first batch of players that went, she was the best of that batch, and she was the best of that first round. And set the bar pretty high for herself and her other competitors, bouncing players out of the competition like Marina Mabrey, like Natasha Howard, like Natisha Heidemann, like Janelle Salon, who didn't move on to the next round, or moved on but just barely. The two players I want to talk about in the second round that really were the focal point was Bridget Carlton, who I picked, and was Izzy Fudd, who I had many doubts about. And I said in my video, I said, if I didn't know at the time if she had done a three-point contest before, because once you've done one, you've kind of done them all. It's all the same format, but it's a muscle memory thing. And we found out throughout the course of the three-point contest that she had done one before. And I said in my video, if she had done one before, she was going to be my pick, regardless of, whatever, my favoritism towards, Bridget Carlton and one of these other players, right? So we go into the second round. AZ Fudd goes first, and it's a hell of a round. She hits almost every shot, and I was so mad because I was like, oh, Bridget's right there. She just has to hit some of these shots, and AZ Fudd finishes her round in spectacular fashion. And then Bridget Carlton's up. Bridget Carlton just can't match it. The flow isn't there, and Bridget Carlton becomes the runner-up, and AZ Fudd becomes, I believe, the first rookie in WNBA history to win the three-point contest. So my prediction didn't come true. I was so close yet so far. I have a history of that in the three-point contest, not just in the WNBA, but in the NBA. I believe Tyler Hero did it one year, and he was the runner-up to like Damian Lillard or something. And I was so close. I always pick the runner-up, not the actual winner. It's just the runner-up. But at least I'm on the right trail there. So congrats to AZ Fudd. It was something that I was like, I feel like AZ Fudd has done a three-point contest before, whether it's at like the McDonald's All-American game or some like other event she did in college or whatever. And as soon as I knew that she did one before, I knew she was going to win it. And that was my one stipulation to my pick was, if any of these players had done the three-point contest before and won or was heavily involved in it, I would have picked them. But congrats again to AZ Fudd. And now we move on to the All Star game. The All Star game was something. Yeah, it was something. um, how do I want to frame this? So, first of all, I'll say this because I've been seeing this online a lot. As my chair squeaks, pardon me. Um, I've been seeing this online a lot that people didn't feel like these ladies tried in this All Star game. There were some players that um, suited up but chose not to play heavy minutes. Aaliyah Boston being one of those, only played 5 minutes. Um, Angel Reese on the other side, only 9 minutes. Jackie Young, 10 minutes. Sonia Citron, 11 minutes. There were some players who opted to suit up and actually play a little bit and just sat a majority of the game. Aaliyah Boston barely played the second half. Jackie Young barely played the first half, played a little bit in the second half. Same thing with Sonia Citron. Some minutes here and there, but they went to their All Star game coach and said, "I really don't want to play in this. We gotta get back on the road. My main team has to get back on the road. Whatever. I'd rather just show up, play a little bit, and then sit on the bench and just enjoy the vibes," which is a tad bit disappointing. I saw some people complaining about Aaliyah Boston, especially because she only played 5 minutes. I'm just happy Aaliyah Boston played it all. Um, for WNBA fans who don't know, this is the thing that's been happening in the NBA for not a long time, but it's happened before for sure. I remember Jimmy Butler one year um, was scheduled to play, and then at the last minute he was like, "Yeah, I don't feel like playing," and he just didn't play. He didn't even dress in like the warm ups or anything. He was just in street clothes. Um, so that was a bit awkward. So it's not unfamiliar to me to see all stars not particularly play or even play hard. That was the other topic of discussion was how do we get these players to play hard? And I don't. I feel like this was better than last year for sure. This might be one of the like top five ish times I've actually seen the game really feel like one team was trying defensively and then one was trying offensively, and the one team had it going offensively, so say they didn't really have to play defense. They just had to make their buckets, and they made their buckets. That's what the blue team did. Let me get this right here. Team Spoon. That's what Team Spoon did. Um, Team Cooper was more defensive minded, um, especially ramping up in that third quarter into that fourth quarter. It got really close there for a couple minutes. They just missed some timely shots, and Team Spoon made the important ones. Um, I'll say this, getting back to my point. Do we need these players to play harder? Yes. How do we do that? Is it a money incentive? Maybe 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 the NBA idea of like this is before the NBA Cup, but like if a certain conference wins, obviously it's not divided by East versus West this year, but if a certain conference wins, that conference gets um, what's it called? A home court advantage in the finals. So regardless of the team, if it's East versus West and the West wins, regardless of record, that West team, whatever it is in the regular WNBA season, will get home court advantage in the playoffs. Is that something you want to do? Listen, I'm pretty jaded at this point. I have a bunch of All Star videos on this channel. At this point, I personally just don't care. I feel like the All Star game is just such a lost art at this point. I talked about it when the NBA had their All Star game. Maybe it's time just to scrap the All Star game, and not particularly in the WNBA because I feel like in the WNBA you're hitting record numbers of attendance at All Star games. So why would you take it away when it's one of your biggest money makers? Same thing could be said about the NBA, but the NBA sort of like is a bit further down the path to dealing with this or not dealing with it. They just kind of accepted their fate. Um, you look at other leagues, the NFL, the NHL. They've just completely scrapped it or completely worked their All Star weekend like events. Um, I don't think it's time to get rid of the WNBA All Star game. Like I said, record number of attendance and stuff at the All Star game, and people actually engaging with the stuff outside the All Star game, just the All Star weekend in general, the activations, meeting the players, doing stuff arenas that the WNBA All Star events are at. I think this is still a very positive thing for the WNBA. How do we get them to try? I don't think. Listen, we're at such a point now where in the WNBA where they're going to be playing more games every year going forward. There's going to be a sweet spot number where it stops, but there's going to be more games added every year. Um, there's going to be, well, not this year. Well, this year in particular, there are more back to backs because the schedule was made before the CBA was agreed upon. So next year there should be less back to backs, but there's no getting rid of back to backs. There's no fixing the regular season to cater to the All Star game. That isn't happening. What can happen is there's a longer layoff between the beginning of the All Star break and the end of All Star break. At least a full 7 to 8 days where players don't have to be in market, be with their team. There needs to be that leeway between the end of the first half of the season and the beginning of the second half of the season. Uh, I think players have said that as well. Um, Now, that does help, but we do have to get some players in these All Star games that care. And I'm going to talk about players that I felt like just didn't care in this game. Angel Reese, I'm looking at you. You just didn't care in this game. I understand it. You're on a playoff team. You just didn't care, though. It was embarrassing out there. Paige Beckers just didn't care. She hit a couple mid range shots and you know waved the towel around a couple times and clapped for her teammates. That was it. Um, I mean, we can look at some other ones here. Um, Marina Mabry was actually one who tried that I didn't know if she would. Um, Gabby Williams had some good defensive moments. On the other side of things, Jessica Shepard was just out there messing around, not really caring about the game. Alicia Gray, Ryan Howard threw up a couple threes, didn't make them. It is what it is. Like we talked about, Leah Boston didn't really play. Even one of my favorite players, Asia Wilson, I kind of understand it why she didn't try because she's literally the offense of her WNBA team. But she didn't try in this game. And when your MVP, your multiple time MVP and multiple time All Star, and my personal go, Asia Wilson, doesn't try in this game, it sets a bad example for everybody else. And I'm not trying to call her out in particular, but I'm just using her as an example because she is the best player and she can set the standard for everybody else. And she is probably the oldest player in their prime here. Like Jonquel Jones isn't in her prime. Um, I don't expect her to set the example. Brianna Stewart isn't in her prime anymore. She's towards the end of her prime. I don't expect her to set an example. Caitlin Clark, Olivia Miles, Paige Beckers, they're just entering their primes. I don't expect them to, set an example. Other players maybe that could set the example. Uh, Kelsey Mitchell, Kelsey Mitchell, Alicia Gray, Courtney Williams, Asia, like those are the players I'm looking at to kind of set the tone and set the example. And I think Kelsey Mitchell did a good job of setting the example. But um, I always say this when it comes to the All Star game and these players trying. Somebody on the one of these All Star teams actually needs to give. I want to say, yeah, give a fuck. They just want to. You have to. The NBA All Star game started falling apart when Kobe Bryant wasn't an All Star anymore, and they left it to LeBron James. And LeBron James just does not care about the All Star game, and quite frankly, doesn't care about anything that doesn't involve the regular season, which he's earned the right to do. But if you're going to set this example for the younger players that are coming in, and Kiki Arifin, this is her second or third All Star, Sonia Citron, Olivia Miles, um, these younger players, Paige Beckers, you're setting a wrong example for these players that I don't want to say look up to you, but have some sort of reference for you and be like, okay, so this is what I'm aiming for. Not every player in this, in every young All Star in this picture, either picture is gonna be an Asia Wilson type of player, like multi-time MVP, multi-time Defensive Player of the Year, all-time level player. But they're looking at her and looking at her. This is the one time a year maybe that they're gonna interact with Asia and interact how she prepares for a game and interact with her how she actually carries herself in a game when they're teammates. And for Asia not to set the example is sort of falling into the LeBron James vein of things where she's earned the right not to care about an All Star game because her team needs her. But at the same time, we need to set a better example for the younger players, that this is how it's done, you know? And maybe you can look at this and say, There are some players missing here that in the past might have set that example. Chelsea Gray, Sabrina Ionescu. There are some players that are older-ish, or players in their prime that could set this example as well, but they weren't here, and it falls on the shoulders of players like Asia and players like Alicia Gray, players like Courtney Williams, players like Kelsey Mitchell, who have been in the league a long time and should set that example. And I'm not trying to harp on them too much because, again, it's an all-star game. I don't want to say we shouldn't really care about it, but people pay good money to watch this stuff. And somebody else said on socials that this might be the one time somebody goes to a WNBA game all season, and to see that sort of like loosey goosiness isn't great. It's not great optically, and optics matter, especially when you're trying to sell your sports league to people that are just getting on board with it. Now, to move on to the fun stuff that happened, as you can see on the right side of your screen, we did have a Dama Longa dunk. That was on my bingo card. I was like, are we going to get a Dom dunk? I said yes, it's going to happen at least once, and she did it. It was on a pass from Angel Reese, and it was exciting. I was hoping for more than one, low key. Low key, I was hoping for more than one, but one was good enough, especially since, again, nobody was really trying. I hope that maybe because people weren't trying, that Dom could get like one or two, or she might be able to get a different dunk, because I feel like she's done this same dunk, this one-handed, like, off one leg dunk every time. I want to see like a two-hander. I want to see like a, throw it back. Not like that, but throw it back. You know what I mean? Um, I was just hoping for a different sort of dunk and not the same dunk package that she's been doing for the past 2 years now. But I digress. Some other notable things that happened in this game. Caitlin Clark had an amazing start. She was an early All Star Game MVP, favorite of mine. The no defense really helped her. She was just shooting from logo range and just making them. If I think it was fun. Even I think before the All Star game, she was advocating for there to be a 4-point shot. There wasn't a 4-point shot this year. I think they should bring the 4-point shot back for the All Star game. I thought that would be amazing. Um, some other things here. The Orange team, Team Cooper, just kind of laid an egg. They just didn't care. And again, I'm not trying to single out a singular person or a singular team, but when one team doesn't care and then like, okay, we're gonna do it in the second half, the game becomes less entertaining in the first half and people turn it off, and then they don't watch the second half, which was actually more entertaining than the first half. Um, some notes I actually have about the game: the blue team felt more confident with all the guards and all the bigs working together. The orange team, the orange/red team, they just felt like, oh, it's your turn, Marina. Oh, it's your turn, Paige. Oh, Kelsey Mitchell, fast break. Here you go. Um, it just felt kind of like just a confusing All Star team. And I said this at the beginning when I did my preview of this All Star game, where I was like, this orange team just feels ugh. I don't love it. I don't love any single one of these players. Um, I love them individually, but collectively as a group, it doesn't feel like they could win this game. Defensively, I was very surprised that they actually competed defensively, considering the people they had. I was not expecting that. Looking at people like Paige Beckers, looking at people like Gabby Williams, um, other defensive-minded players, it was good. It was good to see him try on defense. Um, Kelsey Mitchell looked amazing for Team Cooper. The orange team looked really good. It was fun to see her and Caitlin Clark go back and forth in that first half, just kind of trading buckets. And then that started going away. Caitlin Clark really didn't continue her streak from the first half into the second half, and that left the door open for another player on blue team, Jonquel Jones, to kind of sneak in there and gain some momentum for All-Star Game MVP. And I'm just gonna say it. Jonquel Jones was your 2026 All-Star Game MVP, and throughout the course of the game, I didn't feel like she was playing that well. But when you look at the box score for her, it's pretty mesmerizing. Let's see if I can pull it up here. She did come off the bench. She played 22 minutes at 22 points, 13 rebounds, 8 assists. What was she? 4 of 11 from 3, which isn't that impressive, but she was throwing them up. And when they went in, they went in. It was very nice to see those finally go in. I did my reworking, or my mid-season talk about my top 50 players in the WNBA, and I was like, I need to move Jonquel Jones up, because I had her kind of low because I wasn't sure if she was gonna actually like show me what she could do in the regular season. She's been showing the regular season, and then it showed up in this All Star game, and I'm happy I moved her up on my list a little bit. And here we are. She's the first player in WNBA history. Now, keep this in mind. The first player in WNBA history. Some of these things haven't been weren't incepted and weren't active when she started or even when the league was made. But she's the first player to have regular season MVP. She did that with the Connecticut Sun. Finals MVP, All Star Game MVP, and Commissioner Cup MVP. So 4 MVPs. She's the only player to ever do that. That's pretty impressive. I didn't know that. And as we round to the end here of this video, I do want to give my final thoughts. Um, my final note here is overall pretty underwhelming. Very weird to see blue team overpower the orange team considering some of the names on orange. So you look at some of the names on orange, Team Cooper, Natasha Howard, Brianna Stewart, Kelsey Mitchell, Paige Beckers, Angel Reese, Dominique Malonga, Marina Mabrey, Jackie Young. The box score tells a different story. Gabby Williams had 18 on 18 shots. Kelsey Mitchell had 28 on 19 shots, made 11 of those. Paige Beckers had 12 on 5 made shots, 11 shots taken in total. Dom had 12. Marina Mabrey had 23. It was a very unimpactful 23. Like I said, this team felt very disjointed because it was like, oh, Marina, you've hit 2 threes in a row. Here, take 2 more, and she'd missed 2. And the grand total for 5 of 14 from 3. And then Jackie Young came in, played a little bit. Sonia Citron came and played a little bit. It was just very underwhelming from the orange team, from an outside perspective. Me, somebody who picked the blue team to win, picked Team Spoon to win, I was not shocked at all that this orange team didn't work. I was not shocked at all. I knew it from the day they drafted these players. I was like, this orange team is gonna be, not gonna be good. Do you have anything else to say? Oh, they had a like a what's it called? The Rising Stars Challenge. It was like one current WNBA player, one high school player, and then one legend from that team that the current player is from, or they attempted to do that. And the Washington team won. That consisted of Shakira Austin, the high school player, Shakira Austin, comma, a high school player, and then comma, Elena Deladon, WNBA legend. And Elena Deladon did so good in that Rising Stars Challenge that people were like, are you going to come back? Are you going to come out of retirement? And she's like, no, I'm not doing that, you know. I don't have the stamina to do that anymore. But she was very gracious about the being complimented that she was still so good at such a, I won't say advanced age, but being far removed from her retirement now. I remember when Elena Deladon was in the league, I thought she was so gifted and so highly talented. And it was such a shame she kept getting injured over and over and over again. It was this, it was that, it was her back, it was her leg, it was her knee, it was her shoulder. You know, it was all these things that started to tally up, and it was unfortunate. But it was fortunate that we got to see her again. And we got to see a lot of WNBA legends. They did a little thing at the beginning of the All Star game, or beginning of like that Saturday, where they brought some legends out. They talked about them for a little bit, gave them some praise, gave them their flowers, and it was all very nice to um, see that for the WNBA's 30th anniversary and for this All Star game. It was fun. It was good. Do I have any other thoughts? Yeah, I think the All Star game is a very positive thing for the WNBA. I think it inspires a lot of women's players to strive for something. Caitlin Clark, Paige Beckers talked about how they would watch the All Star game when they were younger players, seeing players like Maya Moore, seeing players like Sylvia Fowles, seeing players like Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi playing an All Star game, and it was something for them to strive for, and for them to finally be in those shoes and be able to show the other younger women how to do it the right way, you know, and try to get to this level is really cool, because I feel like, at least for me, this newer generation of WNBA players, they feel so much closer to the people, you know. They feel so much more like, I don't feel like Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers are too far removed from college. I feel like there are still people in the college ecosystem that have interacted with Paige and Caitlin and Olivia even now to this extent, where, oh, that player's coming in next year, and then a couple years from now, that player would. I'll use Juju Watkins as an example. Juju's going to come in next year. Maybe we'll be an All-Star, her rookie, but maybe not. And then a couple years from now, it will be all 3 of them, and it will be sort of that era of women's college basketball that has elevated themselves even to being all stars together, whether it be on the same team or separate teams. And um, it's just so interesting to me to see that. And I feel like this is still very positive for the WNBA. Could there be some workarounds, some tweaks of some things? Yeah, but that would, I think that would require some new WNBA management, which we might get in the future here. We'll see. But for now, I think it's working fine. I do have my own critiques about All Star games in general, but I'm not going to be too negative here. Like I said, this is a chill, relaxed video. I don't want to work myself up too much. And I hope you guys enjoyed the WNBA All Star weekend. I enjoyed it. I would give it a 8.5 out of 10. It was decent enough. It was good. Um, as we head into the second half of the WNBA season, I will take a little, not hiatus from the WNBA, but I will start trickling back in some NBA stuff for my NBA fans on here. We have a bunch of stuff to talk about here this next week. You probably will get one more WNBA video because I promised you guys one talking about the second half of the season, what we can look forward to, what teams are going to be trying to do in the second half of the season. We'll get to that probably tomorrow or Wednesday, and then we'll start heading back into the NBA stuff, and then after these next 17 games, as we get closer to the playoffs with WNBA, I'll lock back in with you guys and we can talk about the playoffs and stuff then. So yeah, that's it. That's the video. The end screen should be playing right now. Check out the video on the left. Check out the playlist on the right. If you click my little icon right in the middle of the screen, the little subscribe button will pop up and you can subscribe with ease. Like and comment as well, and I will see you guys next time. Cheers.